Superman clown doll tutorial that I made before the movie came out, but it took me literally a month to get to editing. Now for the first part of my process, it's just simply planning it out, figuring out what you want. For example, what shape do you want it to be? What color do you want it to be? Coloring it out also really helps if you don't have any materials on hand and you're going to go buy some. Plan it out beforehand. Make sure you know what you want before you buy shit that you don't need. Anyway, yeah, planning is important. This is what it looks like. Yippee! Some previous projects to show you what I'm talking about. Materials, yay! I have a stockpile of scrunchies for clowns. I clearly don't need them. I don't really know what these are called. I call them cutouts. We're using that one for Superman. This is my Batman one, in case anyone was curious. I use a ruler to try to even it out as possible. I don't know. Do your best, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making shit up as I go. This is my gesture hat-headed one. That's what she looks like. Now we take our base material, or base materials, depending on how many colors you want. If you have two materials, you're gonna put them side by side and put the cutout in between them, and then trace it as normal, like that. Yeah, what I'm doing. Trace it. Trace around the whole cutout, and then, well, yeah, cut it out. And before you start sewing, make sure you have the part you want inside facing outside, because you're gonna flip it over. And when you're sewing, make sure you leave a little section so that you can indeed flip it over. This is me attempting to flip it over with one hand, but yeah, you just basically scrunch it up and then flip it over. This is a seam ripper. It's going to be your best friend if you make a lot of mistakes. It's also going to help you, like, fully push out the points and stuff, as you can see me doing right here. Important note for hand sewers or machine sewers alike, you need a seam allowance, which just does this. You're not sewing directly on the edge. You're sewing a little bit inside, so when you fold it, it's a good thing. Also, my material kind of sucks. So I burn the edges. If you have to also burn the edges, be very fucking careful. Yeah, sketch it out with a pencil, then use fabric marker. It doesn't have to be fabric marker. I recommend using a cardboard to test out colors and make sure it doesn't bleed onto anything underneath you, because fabric can bleed sometimes. Now we're at the stages where pretty much everything else requires hand sewing. We're going to do an anchor knot, I think it's called, that I learned from the Future of Sewing. Check them out. Pretty epic. I don't know what to say during this part, so enjoy some non-copyright music. Do I have your attention now? Okay, now listen. Important note for this section. Do your best to only sew on the first layer of fabric. Try not to get to the back side. It will be a pain in the ass and mess you up if you do. Okay, more music. Yay! Okay, so now we're moving on to his S thing on his chest. I cut it out, and then I'm going to use red fabric that you also can see where I cut Robin out of. There he is. And I'm going to use it, get a reference. Dan Moore is a great reference because I love his art. But yeah, what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting the red fabric out of the same shape so I can draw the S on, and it will be the same size. That's what it looks like. Yay! And now I'm cutting the S out. This was a pain in the ass. If you guys are also making a Superman, I would recommend just finding a red fabric marker. This was a pain in the ass. Yeah, so now I sew it on. Let's go back to the music. Oh yeah, this is me tying a knot. Now let's go back to the music. finally gonna stuff his ass. I think this is called polyester cluster seal or whatever. You can use practically whatever. I just got a big bag from Joann's. Rest in peace, Joanne. Now that he's had his breakfast, we're gonna sew up his arm to seal off the thing. I try to fold in the little materials that stick out so that it looks relatively okay. It's also a lot more sturdier that way because you're sewing through 4 pieces of fabric. Does that make sense? Anyway, underwear time. I decided to make it removable because my friend said so, guys. I didn't make this decision by myself. I'm not a freak, I swear. It was her decision. Anyway, his underwear. We're gonna sew it by hand. Yeah. Also, I'm sorry you can't, see most of what I'm doing. I couldn't see the camera when I was recording. I'm sorry it's blurry and unfocused and out of screen. I've tried my best, you guys. If you guys are also going to be sewing underwear, just sew the sides and the crotch part. Leave the top and the legs unsewed. You don't need to sew those together, or his body can't fit through it, And then here I am making sure that his leg hole will fit through the leg hole. Making sure his leg will fit through the leg hole. As you can see here, it did. And then I sewed the rest of it off camera. The top of it, I did a blanket stitch to, help with the fraying. But then for the leg parts, I just decided to fold it over and then sew that. This is what the inside's going to look like. And I'm going to flip it over. So, now that I've flipped it over, I'm going to put his underwear on. So he's not flashing you guys anymore. I'm so sorry you guys had to go through that the entire video. I don't know what I was thinking. And now I have to call myself out because my past actions are just horrid. Did you see that? I spanked him. Why was I so mean to him? Oh, I disrobed him. Oh my god, I can't watch this anymore. Anyway, now it's time to make his cape. Ta-da! Here, I was just messing around with the cape, and then I was like, oh wait, I kind of want a ruffle effect. And so then I decided to try to sew a ruffle effect. Now for the cape, I sewed all of the sides down so that the fabric wouldn't fray. And now I'm going to sew the ruffle or the pleated effect while I'm sewing it onto him. So first I'm going to sew the top 2 corners together, as you can see. And now I'm going to sew it into his spine. I would recommend using pins, especially if you're sewing something down in a specific area. It would help a lot. That's one side of the cape done. Now I'm going to do the other side. And then we're going to move on to the finishing touches. We got 4 red pom-poms, 1 yellow pom-pom, and a bell. Here I am just placing where I want them to be. So the first thing I'm going to do is sew a bell onto the top of his head, and then the pom-poms onto his hands and feet, and then the yellow pom-pom onto his nose. Are you guys ready for the stability check? Wasn't that fun? Anyway, now we're done with the bell. For the pom-poms, what I do is I just sew a knot into the pom-pom before sewing it onto the doll. Boom, shut in music. I hope you can understand the gist of sewing on a pom-pom to his limbs. I'm going to skip to the nose now because this video is getting a wee bit too long. And so what I try to do is give Superman a nose piercing, apparently. Sorry. Anyway, what I try to do is tie the knot or make the knot underneath the pom-poms so that it looks a little bit smoother. It is handmade, so it's going to look a bit wonky nonetheless, but it's fun. And I hope you also enjoy making it, because I think it's fun, and I hope you find it fun. Anyway. We did it! Yay! We made a clown doll, guys. Are you proud of yourselves? I'm proud of you, so you should be proud of yourself. And this is me. I'm giving a BBL to Superman because his ass was flat. Anyway, I did it. Now I'm gonna go see the Superman movie, even though this is technically almost a month after I already seen the movie. Outro! Except it's me promoting my Ko-fi, because I made a Ko-fi for clown doll commissions if you wanted to buy one and have me make it for you instead of making it yourself. Because I got you, baby girl. Don't even worry about it.